I, 22, was adopted by wonderful parents. I grew up as an only child and am very close with my adoptive mother and father. I have always wondered why my biological parents gave me up for adoption. I never asked and don't plan on it. When I turned 18, my parents asked if I wanted to know who my biological parents were. They told me their names and where they lived. I looked them up on social media and contacted my biological mother. She was very happy to hear from me and asked if I wanted to meet. They lived about 4 hours away. I took the time off of work and drove the 4 hours. We hugged and they were very thrilled to meet me. I told them that I had finished up college and working as a hairdresser. They quickly changed the subject and asked if I could lend them around $2,000 to pay off some debt. I was speechless and asked if that was the main reason they wanted to meet. Bio dad said kind of, yeah. We need help with some finances. I got up and left the diner. I drove the 4 hours back home and told my parents what happened. They were very supportive and let me know that they loved me. My biological mother has been blowing up my phone wanting to talk along with some money requests. I've denied every one of them and told them I no longer want to talk to them. Biological dad reached out and called me a horrible daughter for hurting Bio's mother feelings. I have not heard from them since that last message. Am I the idiot for not helping my biological parents? Not the idiot. Your bio parents are idiots. I'm so sorry your first encounter with them turned out the way it did. It's only natural that you would be curious about them, but you reached out and the above was your experience. It's very clear that if you stay in contact with your bio parents, then you need to accept the emotional abuse and manipulation you are going to experience, and they will use you for all your resources until you have nothing. Find the blessing that you have seen their true colors now and not years from now. You need to change your number and leave both of them in your past. You missed out on nothing. Hello adoptee here. That's one of the things I worry about if I were to ever search for my bio parents. You're not obligated to help them, nor are you obligated to have them or anyone in your life if you don't want. I can imagine it must be hard to want that connection, or at least have been interested though to drive 4 hours to meet them and have it soiled almost right away. You deserve to be around people who care about you for you, and thankfully it sounds like you have that. Oh, no contact with bio family. You can't be a horrible daughter to people you have only met twice. Once when you were born, the second time when they asked for $2,000. They are awful and hope you find the strength to cut them permanently out of your life. Direct all your attention and love to the people who choose to love you and raise you, your real mom and dad, not the donors who incubated you, for the wonderful people who have loved you over the years. Okay, I'm a 25-year-old woman and I'm getting married in a month. I have a history of having parents who are not interested in what I want even if I tell them, but they will want to own everything and want me to do everything in their own way without complaint. So I hardly had any money of my own. I didn't let them buy for me almost absolutely nothing so that I could finally have what I really wanted. Now, it happens that in the wedding plans, I said that I did not feel like wearing white. I am a person who likes very dark colors, and that pastel colors only serve for contrast and so that it does not feel like being in a violin case, so I preferred to wear a beautiful black dress that I chose with my fiancé. The point is that my mother got into the matter to complain about my choice and tried to impose her word, as always. She said a lot of things that looked sad or dramatic, like for a funeral and not a wedding. I told her that it was not a business, that it is the dress that I will wear, not her, and that I do not understand why she makes a fuss if it is not the clothes that she is going to wear. My mother said that she would not allow me to do that, to which I told her that I pay for everything and that it is too late to prohibit anything. Now my father tells me to give in for peace, but no. I do not want them to continue imposing themselves in my life. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's your wedding, you wear whatever you want. Technically speaking, a white dress resembled purity in a wedding, so you could potentially tell your mother that you can't wear white in a church because you're not pure anymore. I'm sure that would cause a reaction. Okay, maybe don't do that, or do, and record it for the giggles. But yeah, mom is sounding a bit mother of the bridezilla here. She's already had her wedding, this is yours. My mother said that she would not allow me to do that. If my mom had said that about my wedding, she wouldn't have had an invitation. This is the time that you must put your foot down. If you are old enough to get married, you are old enough to tell your parents. This is how I want my wedding to be. I am paying for it, and you do not get to have opinions about it. If you cannot accept it, then you are no longer invited to my wedding. Think of the future if you give in to their demands. Imagine how they will behave if or when you have children. Do you want to live under their thumb for the rest of your life? You can let your father know that the best way for him to have someone keep the peace would be for him to get his wife to understand that it is your wedding that you are paying for. That he needs to explain to her that she gave her opinion, you heard and considered it, but are still happy with your decision, and that she needs to support your decision. And that they need to decide, do they want to part of your special day or not. I'm not saying exclude them from the wedding. But their role can go from parents of OP, the bride in the beautiful black dress, to another set of wedding guests very quickly. I gave birth to my son 10 weeks ago. I went through exhausting period while I was nearing my due date. I was experiencing discomfort and wanted my husband by my side when I go into labor, but he'd go out every night to hang out at his friend's place and watch football games. I suggested that he play or watch games at home just in case, but he was having none of it and said he had to attend game night at his brother and friend's place along with his buddies. He said they had certain rituals when watching a game and he can't enjoy doing it at home or anywhere else. The night of our son's birth, my water broke while my husband was at his buddy's place watching a game. I called him and told him to get home and take me to the hospital. He said he was coming, but he didn't. I ended up calling my sister, she lives nearby, and she took me to the hospital. My husband showed up 2 hours later after he kept calling asking if I was still in labor and that he was almost done watching the game. He was able to make it on time for our son's birth, but I was furious with him, mad and disappointed. He apologized profoundly and has been working on regaining my trust and respect for him after what he's done. He's otherwise very supportive and involved in our son's care. Last night, I was at my in-laws' house for dinner and we were talking about my son's birth date. My husband suddenly started recalling what happened that night and basically started lying about driving me to the hospital, waiting and feeling stressed out and standing on his feet for so long without food or even water. I was confused. I said no, none of this was true, none of this happened. In fact, he was watching a game when I went into labor and I wanted him to drive me to the hospital, but didn't show up till 2 hours later. My mother-in-law, who takes no crap from anybody and whom everyone fears, lost it on him, yelling asking him if that was true, and he kept quiet. She started berating him left and right, telling him to sit down and shut up when he stood up to argue, then told him to stand up when he was sitting arguing. Everyone was laughing at how she basically treated him as if he was a boy in trouble. She kept saying shame, shame, shame on you, this is not how I raised my children to treat their wives, Jordan, you are a disgrace, and I'm disappointed because of what I heard about you. He literally swallowed every bit of his mother's berating and didn't say anything till we got home, where he went nuts, saying I made him look neglectful, a bad husband and father, by telling the family about where he was, and said I shouldn't have said anything, but I argued it wasn't okay for him to lie and play hero in front of his parents. He said I just caused a rift between him and family and asked if I was happy now. Am I the idiot? Should I have not said anything? Not the idiot. I'm surprised it took 10 weeks. I'd have been calling my mother-in-law to deal with her child so I could focus on mine. Want to act like a careless teenage boy in a situation where you should have been top priority, then he deserves to be treated as such by his mother. Also, he has no right to be mad at you for being honest. How could he expect that you'd grit your teeth and smile through his lying, especially adding little details like being on his feet for so long without food or water? I'd have done the same for sure. Not the idiot. If your husband doesn't want to be scolded by his mom for not being a good husband, then he should work on being a good husband. He deserved that scolding. Also, I love your mother-in-law. I think she would get on with my mom like a house on fire. I love it when no-nonsense ladies get together. Anyway, your husband is embarrassed. That doesn't make him right. He knew his mother would react poorly to his inconsiderate behavior, and so he lied to save face. You didn't do a single thing wrong by correcting it. I'm concerned for you, OP. Your husband's lies when he was recalling your labor weren't tales about your awesomeness as you struggled through physical pain to build back some goodwill, or the miracle of watching life come into the world. He made himself a hero of the lie with his fiction, telling about standing on his feet and going without food and water. It's all about him. And when he's shirking his responsibilities and mommy has to criticize him, you're in for a whole future of him taking it out on you when you ask him to do the right thing and he doesn't. Postpartum with a baby, you're vulnerable. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years and it's been great. She's a perfect match for me, and I love spending time with her. My girlfriend is also a diehard Steelers fan, American football team, and their home opener was last Sunday. This is something she's been looking forward to since January. However, last Sunday was also a lunch being held in my honor via my company for a promotion I had received. This is a promotion I had been attempting to receive for a while and was so happy that I finally got it. I invited my girlfriend to the lunch, but there was just one issue: the lunch fell during the Steelers game. This led to a huge argument between my girlfriend and I where I begged her to come to the lunch and she said that we would go out to celebrate some other time, but this Steelers game meant a lot to her. Eventually, I was finally able to convince her to come to the lunch. When we got to the lunch, my girlfriend said hi to all of my colleagues and then disappeared. It had been an hour since I'd seen her, so I went looking for her and found her in a room by herself watching the Steelers game. This made me angry, but she wasn't even making an effort to act like she cared and instead just left. This led to another argument when we got home. I told my friend what happened and he said I was the unreasonable one. He said I should have just let her stay home and watch the game, and then me and her could have gone out to celebrate another time like she suggested. He said that I could have compromised, but instead made the situation all about me. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The magic of the internet and streaming video is that people can literally watch a football game later in the day without it affecting their enjoyment of it. All your girlfriend would have had to do is avoid getting exposed to spoilers before she got to watch the recorded game. What she was really choosing between was going to celebrate your big day with you or not getting the Steelers game at the same time as other fans. There's something definitely wrong with that girl, or your relationship isn't close to what you think it is. If it were the Super Bowl, one could maybe understand, but just a regular game, no way. You were being celebrated for something you worked hard to accomplish, and you have the right to be proud, and as your partner, she should be proud of you as well and want to share in the opportunity to officially honor you a bit. It's a milestone in your life. An opening game to a football season is just an opening game to a football season. You guys going out to celebrate is nice as well, but it's not the same in my opinion. She shouldn't have shown up if she was going to pull that bullcrap. I'd get a new girlfriend. Even if she refused and stayed home, I'd still get a new girlfriend. Everyone's the idiot here for me. I would have never asked my partner to come to a work luncheon when I know she's been excited about opening games since January. I would have just gone to dinner with my SO and celebrated later. But she also is the idiot, because if my SO asked me to go to a luncheon important to them to celebrate a promotion, there's no way I'd stay and watch the game. Honestly, if you didn't even notice she was gone for an hour and were talking to other people, it sounds like her presence wasn't really that important except to make you feel and look good. But she's also rude for sequestering herself and watching the game while there. So I, 24, was the result of a teenage pregnancy. My bio parents, both 40 years old now, weren't good parents. I was mostly raised by my Aunt Layla, 45. My bio parents never stopped partying or being irresponsible, so they gave up their parental rights and my aunt adopted me. My bio parents decided that since now they were able to provide a child with stability, they wanted to adopt. Recently they managed to adopt an 8-year-old named Kyle. I don't know how they did that since they gave up their parental rights of their first child. I've never met him. For some kind of reason, my bio parents talked to Kyle about me. How I'm his brother, that I'm really eager to meet him, etc. They even showed him pictures of me. Understandably, Kyle is super excited to meet me. I know this because my mom told me. I haven't had contact with my bio parents for years now. My bio parents called me today. They explained that Kyle is very excited to get to know me and they would appreciate if I agree to meet him. I don't want to make poor Kyle sad, so I agreed, but I told my bio parents that before I meet Kyle, they needed to find a way to make very clear to him that I'm not his brother and that I won't have much contact with him. Well, they flipped out on me. They told me that I'm being a bad brother but I'm not Kyle's brother, and even critiqued the way my mom raised me, which made me very mad, so I told them that, since I was raised in such an awful way, I'm not fit to be around small children, so I take back my offer of meeting Kyle. They cursed at me, and the call ended. I told my mom what happened, and she told me that she understood what I was feeling, but Kyle is not guilty of what my bio parents did, so I should meet him, since he is a child and my bio parents already told him that I'm going to see him next week. My mom also said that, if I don't do that, I would be an idiot for breaking a child's heart. Not the idiot. What your bio parents did to you and your adoptive brother was awful. But I have to agree with your aunt. Though no fault of your own, the boy sees you as his brother and will be disappointed and hurt when you reject him. Maybe you should try to have a relationship without your parents with him. He's 8, so seeing him without their constant supervision should be possible. Also, you might relate to each other and you could explain to him your relation. Try to keep your parents' manipulations to a minimum by having your own path to communicate with him. Have another talk with your mom. Here is the thing. You will break his heart anyway. Either you get guilt-tripped to meet the kid against your wishes, meaning the bio parents get their way, or you will meet him once, tell him you have no interest in dealing with him, and he gets upset due to that. There is no way to win. And you never hyped him up. They have been shoving you down his throat and getting him hyped up. They are setting up expectations that they cannot keep. And I am wondering if the main reason they want him to want to be around you, so they have a babysitter. Your mom is right about not wanting to break the heart of a child. It seems like the only reason why you don't want to meet Kyle is because of how your bio parents framed your relationship with him. You can meet Kyle to welcome him to the extended family, but make it clear that his parents aren't yours and that you would love to introduce him to the mom who did raise you one day. Have you considered that maybe your bio parents reacted the way they did because they do feel guilty about what happened with you and they don't know how to express that in non-antagonistic way? Not saying you owe them anything, just something to consider.